We need a funky flashman.
We do need a funky flashman. Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Please write us for possible employment of a no prize, no dollars to be our hype man.
All right, here we go again with another edition of Masterpiece Comics Theater, brought to you by Comic Books and Cold Ones. This is Lord KMacworth,
Yes.
third of Inkshire.
All of that will be
with
yours.
the Royal Society of Comics and Sundries, and I am joined by the Honorable Sir Yexington, man of comic sans and letters. What say you, Sir Yexington?
Here I am again representing the Advanced Institute of Funny Books, of Funny Book Studies, IOFBS, for all the people out there that have their advanced degrees from the IOFBS, Tally-ho, Forthshire, and such what, as we go forth once again to talk about our favorite in the fine diptychic arts of comic book telling. This, once again, is an oral podcast where we debate all things graphic novels and imbibe all things barley brews. And we are going to be talking to you today about Mr. Miracle from 2017 and 18, as done by Tom King and Mitch Gerads. I do believe it's Gerads because he is French.
Gerads.
Gerads.
Where's your fancy voice?
I don't have a fancy voice.
Yes, you do.
Welcome, everybody. We're
Yes.
excited once again to present our special feature of Masterpiece Comics Theater, where we break down a well-told story in comic books while drinking the fancier of beers that we can find in our local stores. And I always get excited because this is a chance to spend that extra couple bucks on a beer you wouldn't normally drink, and we get to talk about it while we're talking about a cool story that we read. What's up with you, Lord K. Mac?
Oh, just the usual. I'm excited about this show too. I like when we can buy the fancier, larger bottle beers. It's something different, and I really am looking forward to telling this or talking about this story. I thought this is really fun and well written, well drawn story for sure.
Indeed. So yeah, this is where we break down a really well-told story. The first one we did, of course, was Where Were You When the Batman Died from the 1970s, and this one's another one we thought was worthy of being presented in Masterpiece Comics Theater, and we're using our fancy voices and drinking our fancy beers. And so what do you have today to drink as a fancy beer, Lord KMacworth III?
Oh boy, I have a huge beer. It is called La Fin du Monde.
I think the artist of this series, Gerads, would be very, very excited at you drinking a French name beer.
Yes. Now, it is a Belgian triple, so it comes in at 9% ABV, so it's going to be an ass kicker.
That's
I
the most
guess.
exciting play in beer.
Yes. Beer Advocate actually gives it a rank or a score of 97, so looking forward to it. A lot of people apparently really like this beer. From what I can tell, let's see, I can read the summary. So it was developed through 18 months of research on a unique strain of yeast originating from Europe, brewed in honor of the European explorers who discovered the New World. When they got there, they thought they had reached the end of the world because they didn't realize, obviously, anything was past it. So it was brewed in their honor. It's one of the first beers or types of beers, they say, that was brewed in North America.
And who's the maker of this beer? Where are they from?
Oh,
all good stuff.
Question. It is Unibrow from Quebec, Canada.
Oh, the Unibrow brothers doing some good stuff up there with their monobrows. What's the ABV on that? I know it's coming in at a little high test.
Oh, 9%.
Ooh, we're going to have a good podcast, everybody.
Yeah, 9%. It's a triple, 9%. So.
Yep.
And it has a big fancy bottle.
It has a big fancy bottle with a cork and everything.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing what you're drinking. I've seen the bottle, and it's awesome. Tell us about it.
I got a mashup that is of semi-local brewery to here in the DC metro area, a state over in Delaware, where they mashed up and actually teamed with another brewery, another fancy brewery out in San Francisco. So this is Kisses Betwixt Mr. and Mrs. This Is Ridiculous, which is appropriate for Mr. and Mrs. Miracle, Scott Free and Big Barda, who we're going to be talking about tonight. And it looks like them kissing on the bottle. This is done by Dogfish Head out of Rhode Island in the brewery Teru out of California. And I'll read the little thing here. Kisses betwixt Mr. and Mrs. This is Ridiculous. A tart and funky mixed culture saison ale made by blending This is Ridiculous and This is Mrs. Der. This is Ridiculous and This is Mrs. Ridiculous. And aging it all on French oak wine barrels for 9 months. Oh, 9 months is very fancy to be talking about fancy comics. It comes in at 8.1% alcohol by volume. It is a little bottle, not a big bottle, unfortunately.
Oh,
But
you got a little bottle?
It's it's a little over a normal sized bottle, not by much, but yeah.
Boo.
But it does have the fancy capper on it with the corkscrew and everything.
Yeah, mine too. So this is the second Dogfish Head appearance on the podcast.
Yes, Dogfish coming in for the second time.
Yeah, I had what was it called? Costumes and Karaoke for our Sinister Six episode.
Yes, you did.
Which is also very good.
It's a very good brew.
Yeah.
And if I get through this one to keep up with you, since it is St. Patty's weekend, I will be pulling out a Guinness once we get into the sundry deep, dark pits of apocalypse to talk about for a dark stout to be rolling with that. So
that's a good idea.
We get to pop these with the cool cork sound. Sure. Hopefully mine doesn't explode all over my microphone.
Yep, same here.
That would not be befitting. Kalabach would not like it.
Yep. There we go.
That was a good pop.
You keep it clean?
Yes. And I'm pulling out my fancy glass. I have, like you, a little chalice glass. And it pours like a wine color rosé almost. With a super fizzy sound.
Mine too, not wine color.
Yeah. Smells a little winey. Well, cheers.
Ding.
Sir Wexford. Lord KMacworth.
Whatever your name is.
Sir Yexington.
Mine reminds me a lot of the, I think it was Copper Tail beer that I had called Unholy around Halloween, because it was also a Belgian triple. So these taste very similar, and I really love that beer. So, and this one's a lot cheaper.
So with the Belgian triples, they don't have a thing called a single, and the Americans have tried to make a single, but they have basically saisons, which is what this is. I'm drinking supposedly a saison. That's like the lowest level. And then they make a double, which means they've doubled the alcohol, but that's more maltier. And then the triple is supposedly triple the alcohol, and it's a more florally clear one than the double.
Gotcha.
I'm breaking you down your brewery science. And this one comes in as a tart sour saison, kind of like a cherry beer a little bit, but not too over the top cherry. More winey. It's very good. I'm very betwixt. I think that sends me back to the what's Mixaplex's dimension?
Oh, I don't remember. Did it have a name or did it just have a number?
Yeah, limbo. He is in limbo. Yeah, I think this. If I say that betwixt quick enough, I'll end up in limbo.
Gotcha.
Oh, it's good. So once again, we're breaking down this awesome series as a 12-run series, so a year long. Now we get this special limited series done by Tom King, the author, a hot hip and hap guy in the world of comic books with his pal Mitch Gerads, talking and breaking down a famous character created by Jack Kirby in the 70s as part of the New Gog saga, or the Fourth World saga, if you want to call it that follows the adventures and travails of one Mr. Scott Free. Kick it off for us, K-Mac. What are we reading today?
Well, first, let me go over some formalities. If you want to send us an email, you can email us at cbcopodcast@gmail.com. Twitter, we're at cbco_podcast. And if you want to find us on Instagram, you can just search Comic Books and Cold Ones or Comic Books_Cold Ones, and you'll find us there. If you have any beer ideas or show suggestions, just shoot us a message on any of those, and we'd be happy to hear from you.
Or if you'd like a recommendation to the Advanced Institute of Funny Book Studies, I will write those in your behalf for a small fee of $500 each.
Oh, sweet! That's so nice of you.
I try to help the next generation go to school.
Yeah, you're a gentleman.
And so are you, Lord KMacworth.
Thank you, Sir Yexington. So we're going to talk about this a little differently today. Normally we go through a story chronologically. We're going to essentially talk about our favorite things that each of the characters in the story have done. So maybe first what we'll do is kind of go over the cast of characters. Who do we have here in this story? So first, obviously, we have title character Mr. Miracle.
Mr. Miracle, scot free, raised in the pits by Granny Goodness, exchanged as a peace deal between Dark Side of Apocalypse and Highfather Isaiah of New Genesis to put an end to their war, whereas Dark Side gave his only son, Orion, to a Highfather to raise and raised him well in the New Gods tradition and upstanding and all those good things and became a leader and warrior for the New Gods. Uh, Highfather's son got given to Granny Goodness to be raised in the orphanage like all kids on Apocalypse and got their crap beat out of him on a daily basis. But he always tried to escape, earning the name scot free from Granny Goodness, who gets to name the children whatever she wants based on what she thinks they are.
Yeah, just whatever. Yeah, whatever she thinks they do well at, or whatever she hates them the most
Yeah.
for.
Now, if you think that all sounds really, really weird, it is because Jack Kirby was writing this freeform all by himself and drawing it from the 1970s. And as far as I can tell, if you read those, he's heavily influenced by the hippie movement at the time. Even though he, was from World War II, he was not. He wasn't a baby boomer. He was before the baby boomers, but obviously very, very influenced by those. And Mr. Miracle, Scott Free's powers pretty much are all the New Gods powers, but he has a couple extra things. He has a mother box on him at all time, which is a state-of-the-art computer that helps communicate with him and get him out of any situation he's in by going ping, 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 and is charged by the love Scott shows the mother box. He also has a pair of arrow discs he can fly around on.
Right. Is the mother box same as a boom tube?
No, the mother box can generate boom tubes. So the boom tube is just the travel means that they can get around the universe. So that's one of the mother box's powers. And it's not there's many mother boxes out there, but Scott Freeze is probably the most famous of them from the New Genesis.
The New God series was probably what Thor would have been if Jack Kirby was allowed to do it all by himself.
That is kind of what he was. The ideas he toyed around with Thor is what he ended up with in the New Gods. And then it was kind of a slippery slope because he took Thor and then he made what he wanted to do with the Inhumans the first time, but was restrained in doing the
True.
Inhumans. Then he did the New Gods, and then he came back to Marvel and did the Eternals. So he's recreated this character, these mythoses, like 4 times, which is interesting.
Good for him, right?
Yeah. But yeah, this one
Stuck
is
to it.
this is the most hippie of them all, and if you want to read some really trippy hippie stuff, read the Forever People, which kind of led into this, which is also people from the New Genesis.
Next, we have Big Barda, who is the wife of Scott Free, Mr. Miracle, one of the founding members of the Female Furies, also granny raised on Apocalypse, and she is big. She's big.
That's how she got the name from Granny Goodness.
Yep.
It's like, damn, that's a big girl. You're Big Barda.
Right. And Big Barda is probably the best thing about this book. If I had to, one of the best things, but maybe the best thing. Just what she does is perfect on so many levels in this book.
And yeah, she was raised purely to be a warrioress by Granny Goodness. Carries around a staff. I can't remember what it is, but it can also do things similar to the mother box, but it's also a staff of power or a rod of power, something to that effect. And she can beat the crap out of people with it, and it can shoot explosives and also fly people anywhere it wants.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, in addition, we have a whole bunch of different new gods. I don't know if it's necessary to go into all of them in depth, but we have Orion, who you spoke about before, who's the son of Apocalypse, traded to Highfather to end their war. We have
Highfather, Isaiah.
Highfather,
briefly, yes.
Yeah, we have the Female Furies briefly. We have Funky Flashman, who's the best, other best in this book, maybe. We have
Light Ray. Light Ray, the attendant of Highfather, and then eventually Orion when Orion becomes Highfather in the series.
And we have various dark side cronies. We have his son Calabac. Is his son Calabac? Is that who it is? Yeah, Calabac. And we have Canto. We have some parademons. We have, what is the name of the guy in the robe? What is his name?
You have Desaad.
Desaad.
Yeah. The schemer of Darkseid. You also have Wunderbar, I can't remember his name, appear. That's the general, one of the generals of Darkseid, who
Oh,
meets
briefly.
meets an untimely end in this series.
Yeah, he looks like Hitler, right? He's that guy.
Mm. Yeah, he's the Hitler clone.
Yeah.
It's like Count Wunderbar.
Yeah.
Don't know where they got that name. So, and then just all other appearances, and finally you have the biggest of the Apocalypse crew, Darkseid himself.
Yes.
And as K-Mac put it, we're not going to follow the story. We hope you've read it or inspire you to read it by just kind of talking about some highlights, because it's 12 comics. There's no way we're going to walk you through and you not get bored hearing about 12 comics in a row. So we're just going to tell you the high points and how we think that's cool for Mr. Miracle, who's such an interesting character, and also the other parts that make the series so well done by Tom King and Mr. Gerads.
Right. And, I don't know how anyone could get bored listening to us talk about anything, to be honest, but we only have so much time. I think that's what it comes down to more than anything. And we only have so much beer.
That was the bigger one, is we only have so much beer to count this down to.
Right. This bottle is huge, but it's not that huge.
And mine's so funky and tart. Let's get this off for a funky and tart story.
So first, our favorite things that Mr. Miracle does or has, or his favorite moments in this story. So, and I think consensus, we agree, because we do a lot of these notes separately, and then we come together and learn, that we've hit a lot of the same points. So we have a consensus agreement on this, that the best thing about Mr. Miracle is all of the awesome DC logo shirts he wears in this book. He wears everyone's logo shirt. It's spectacular.
So Mr. Miracle, being a world famous escape artist, rock star character, slums around like he's on TMZ, and the way he does it is by wearing DC logo superhero shirts. And run down all those logo shirts we see.
Start out with the pretty basic. He has Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, Flash, Wonder Woman. So the main Justice Leaguers right there. Then we have Nightwing. We have a Watchman t-shirt. We have, when Superman transformed into a pure energy being, we have blue Superman logo shirt, which is one of the only white shirts he wears, and it distorts into a red shirt during that, on that same page. So he has the blue red Superman t-shirt. He has a blue Beetle t-shirt, Booster Gold fan club t-shirt, which is the best, Aquaman, Hawkman, Professor Zoom, Shazam. He has a Sheriff of Babylon shirt, and Sheriff of Babylon is a book that Tom King wrote, and I think it was for Vertigo, but it might have been for one of the other independents. I can't remember, but it's a Tom King and Mitch Gerads book. So that's a little nod to what they did in the past.
Just promoting their own product.
They are. It's very clever. He has an Adam Strange shirt on at the very end. And then I think, and we were talking about this and we couldn't quite figure it out, he might be wearing a Starro t-shirt there. There's a star symbol. It looks a lot like Starro, but there's some other things around it. I don't know. Does JLA have a symbol like that or no?
No, I couldn't. I dug and dug. I couldn't find anything that looks like that. I think we are correct. It is Starro, and I was trying to think through when the shirts appear in the story, so I didn't break those all down. That would take way too long for this podcast. But I do know when he has his child, he is wearing a Superman shirt. That's the time he wears it. So when you're becoming a father, you become a Superman. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think that's kind of, I think probably the shirts do represent different times at some point when they're in the story, but I didn't break that all down. So that's something out there for you kids to follow up on and study if you want to get into the AIOFBS and get your advanced PhD in funny book studies. That's what you can read about.
Right. And now, Tom and Mitch, if you're listening to this and you want to get in on that too, that's fine. Or if you just want to let us know who that shirt is and how we can get some of these shirts, that'd be great, because we don't make Mr. Miracle money. That's for sure.
So we didn't do a breakdown. And if you're buying all licensed products of these shirts, they're at $25 to $35 a pop. And so you got to be well into over what, 300 grand? 300, not 300 grand, $300.
17 shirts.
17 shirts. So that's quite a bit of coin. Let's do that math.
At $425.
At $30 a shirt. That was at $20, $25, right?
That's at $25, yeah.
Yeah. So you're at $5.10 at $30 a shirt. So somewhere between there and there. So being a rock star escape artist, pays to be able to buy local merch.
Yeah, that's escape artist money for
Yeah.
sure. But the shirts are great. Now, I read an article, I think it was on like Gizmodo or one of those sites where someone was calling Mr. Miracle like the fashion star of the DC universe because of these t-shirts. And in that article, they wondered, why doesn't DC sell like a pack of shirts like this? And I agree. I wouldn't spend $425 or $500 on these shirts, but you think they could bundle like 15 of these shirts for like $100 and they'd sell out. I'd buy them. I'd
It,
buy
it,
them for you.
it, oh, thank you very much. That'd be
Or
a very good donation to the AIFBS.
yeah, or listeners, you could buy them for us, you know.
One at a time.
Yeah.
But I can give you an answer on why
One
DC
listener at a
doesn't
time.
do that. They're terrible at anything that's not making comic books. Unlike
That's
Marvel, who
true.
has the Disney arm behind them to do all this, DC's still stuck with Warner Brothers, who still hasn't figured out how to make more money off Bugs Bunny yet
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
to maximize that cash flow.
Yeah. You'd think they, I don't know, sometime in the last like 50 years get someone who could do that.
You would hope.
You'd hope. You know what they need to do? They need to call the Royal Society of Comics and Sundries. We can help them with that.
I think they have a fine lawyer over there that can attend to that.
Yes, perhaps they do.
So that's pretty awesome that's part of the storytelling. Another cool thing is when eventually in the story, it's debatable whether the story is real or not, um, going on in actual reality, but most people agree that this is all going on in Mr. Miracle's coma brain, because at the beginning it appears he's committed suicide, and then he's reliving all of this, maybe mentally, but it's not true, because they do one of those things where they show him committing suicide, then he's in a hospital, looks like he's recovering, but you don't know if that's true or not because of the way that it ends. The story ends, so it's not clear overall if he's escaping death or not. So that's all one of the big mind tweaks of the whole story. But part of this is he learns that he and Big Barda are going to have a child, and they get, as all new fathers get to do, they get to go one night out with their drinking buddies. And who does Mr. Miracle choose to go drinking with to celebrate the impeding birth of his child?
He goes with Booster and Blue Beetle. It's
Not
awesome.
just Booster, he also goes with Booster and Skeet.
Oh, Skeet's there too. That's right.
And it's not clear whether they all get hammered. And so Booster wears a Booster Gold shirt. And Blue Beetle, Todd Cord, or is it Ted Cord? Ted Cord just has like a jumper, blue jumper on. And then Mr. Miracle has like a West Country and Western long sleeve shirt that has the Mr. Miracle circles on top. And they're all drunk outside the club. And it appears like they have little bubbles to signal that they're drunk talking. And it appears Skeet is also drunk.
I missed that. That's great.
Getting trashed.
Yeah. They. What was I going to say after that? I'm getting trashed. Maybe. No, it was nice to see those two characters in there because they were. I am the Skeet because they were all in Justice League International together.
Yes.
When that book first was published in the 80s, so it was nice to see them three together. I don't know if they've been together very much since then.
But those are the buddies you choose. And to get home from the bar, how do they get home from the bar? Do they take an Uber?
They boom tube it?
They take a boom tube. And in a great scene where Mr. Miracle goes, it looks like Mother Box is saying the boom tube will show up here in 5 seconds there, just like you when you're riding the Ubers.
Well, that's funny too, because later on in the story, they talk about boom tubing somewhere, from Earth to Earth. And Barda says that could tear fabric in reality.
Yes.
And it might be worth beating the traffic for that. So so when you're drunk, it's not a good idea to have a boom tube because you could tear a hole in everything and wreck it.
You can rip Earth apart. But it is a lot faster to get through LA traffic using the boom tube.
Oh, for sure. It's worth the risk.
And kids, it is safer than drunk driving. So take an Uber, take a Lyft, take a boom tube. Don't drink and drive. PSA for the day.
Yes, you've heard it here first. Thank you.
Do you think Skeet and the Mother Box talk the whole time when they're at the bar?
I bet the Mother Box was drunk too. Yeah, I bet they did.
Bing. Booster. Calculating the odds they're going to get drunk.
Did you read the Batman story that was written by Tom King, where Booster wanted to give Batman a wedding gift, so he went back in time and prevented his parents from being killed to give Batman a taste of a happy life.
No, I have not read that one yet.
Oh, it's so good because it ends up that, and it's been out for a few years, so if people haven't read it, I'm sorry, but
Well, you're
so
running it for me
Booster,
now too.
I'm gonna spoil it for you too. Yeah, yeah, you should know this stuff. So Booster tries to fix it, but Bruce Wayne and the Happy Life won't let him. And so Booster's stuck there for years and years, and he goes completely insane. And Skeets is trying to like break him out of it. It's pretty funny.
That's good. That's good
He
stuff.
writes a good Booster Gold.
Yeah. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love a good Booster Gold?
Yeah, I do. I love him.
All right. What's the third best thing that Mr. Miracle does during the series?
The third best thing is when Barda is in labor and they're at the hospital. They start throwing out ideas on what to name their baby. And Miracle has some great ideas for naming the baby. Do you know any of them?
I just remember the best one, but I can save that one. But if I remember right, it's Ironbreaker. That was the name of his uncle.
Yes. And he died getting an icicle stabbed through his eye. Didn't he say that?
But I love that they start choosing all god names that Scott Free would never know, but he wants to be having a family so much in the New Genesis style. What are all the names they suggest to Barda that she turns down?
Yeah, besides Ironbreaker, they have Star Razor, Axe Blow, Thunder Death, which I like, and Throne Killer. Yeah, it's funny, like you said, he doesn't really want anything to do with the new gods, but he has all these new god names. And one thing I like about this story is how, they juxtapose like the everyday life things that Barda
Yeah.
and Miracle have going on Earth with fighting like the war for reality on New Genesis and Apocalypse. I think it's really funny how they do that.
Yeah, and so that kind of harkens back to the 96 miniseries with Mr. Miracle that they released. And that was he becomes High Father because High Father dies, would say, High Father comes back or whatever, one of the retcons, but he denies wanting to become High Father, and everybody's upset, and Ryan's like, you suck and whatever. And Barda eventually dies, and he chooses to become High Father to rescue her from whatever, or the Black Racer that's Death in the New Genesis, has her. But she didn't want to go because she likes beating the crap out of things every day. That's what she gets to do in hell or whatever the afterlife is. But the whole thing's centered around he doesn't want to be High Father. He's terrible at being like a superhero, but he just enjoys being an escape artist. And they make fun of him for wearing his costume the whole time on New Genesis. Like, what is that you're wearing? And he's like, this is who I am. That's all he wants to do. So yeah, this harkens back to the juxtaposition. Now he's got it because he's a normal human most of the time on Earth, and in this comic, when he goes to New Genesis, he puts on his Mr. Miracle costume to be a new god. That's who he is. He wants to be.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Something else that this one harkens back to is the first Mr. Miracle series. All of the narration at the beginning and end, where it's sounding like you're getting ready for the next Mr. Miracle trick.
Yep.
All of that narration is the same in these books as it is in the original Mr. Miracle story. And I didn't realize that because I hadn't read the new Mr. Miracle story, the old ones, until just after I read these. So it's nice how they have some callbacks and they've really read the material.
Yeah, the big Jack Kirby voice coming in at the beginning. It's like, oh, and then the daring escape artist.
Yeah.
Which they do again, yeah. And that sets it up. It's very cool.
Yeah. So they didn't go with any of those baby names, though.
Nope. No. What did they go with?
They went with Jacob.
Jacob. Because
after Jacob's Ladder.
Jacob's Ladder out of the Hell Pits or X Pits.
Yeah. On Apocalypse.
That you can almost escape from, then you get pulled back in by the Furies of Granny Goodness or anything. So
yeah, so he's going to help them escape this hell, I guess, right?
Yes.
I don't know. Who knows?
What's the next thing?
Yeah, so they have baby Jacob, and he's growing up. He's still a baby, but he's growing up. And his babysitter is Funky Flashman, and Funky Flashman gets him a gift. What's his gift?
He gets him a little stuffed Batman toy.
And Scott Free does not like that because what does Batman do?
Batman kills babies.
Batman kills babies.
Yes, everybody knows this.
I know. He says that another time. So he says that right away to Funky Flashman, and he says it again too, like later on in the story as well. But it's so funny.
Yeah, they constantly throughout this. Then they have like a couple references to how Mr. Miracle is not the biggest fan of Batman, But Jacob Free is, and so much so on their first birthday they have to have a Batman themed birthday at the
That's right. He's
insistence,
buying the cake.
yeah, at the insistence of both of Jacob and Funky Flashman.
Yeah. So when he gets home from the bar with Booster and Beetle, he's really drunk, and Barda tells him he has to go pick up the cake, and it's a Batman themed party. And the last thing he says before he passes out is, "Batman kills babies." Has Batman ever killed any babies? Is that just about Robin's dying?
That's, I believe it is a reference to Robin's getting killed.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that makes sense.
And
Yeah,
then
it was really
finally, yeah, this all ends up with, a story where Apocalypse gets overthrown at the hands of Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, and Jacob, and they become the rulers of or peace deals worked out on everything, and they get to come back to Earth, and they realize they've had the baby or whatever, and Mr. Miracle realizes he has way too many things around that are dangerous for babies, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah. He has something called the Stab-a-Tron at the house. I don't know if we ever get to see it, but it might be that he gets in this big ball with knives all around it at one point. They don't ever say it's the Stab-a-Tron, but I think that's probably the Stab-a-Tron.
Yeah.
And it seems like one of their friends was over and might have gotten stabbed by the Stab-a-Tron. So Bart is like, "You said you're going to put a sign on that Stab-a-Tron." And he goes, "I am going to put a sign on that Stab-a-Tron." But to have a Stab-a-Tron in your condo,
Yes.
that's pretty awesome.
That also, yeah, harkens back to all the way Jack Kirby would tell the original stories, is always coming up with a new thing that Mr. Miracle's assistant Oberon would be making to try to kill him, and that he would escape from. So they have the Stab-a-Tron on this one. They also have the Flamer, which is like a giant oven that just bursts into flames.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they burn the bodies of the new Genesis guards in that.
Yes. And a variety of other things, yeah. So it's pretty overall, and I think it keeps with Scott Free's kind of whimsical nature, in that he doesn't want to be a god, but takes it on and does these things like that, and they play up heavy, that unlike throughout the series, like they're Big Barda and Scott are like they don't pay attention like into the humanity things that are going on, like there'd be torture or whatever going on and things burning down. But since they're raised in Apocalypse, they don't care. And if you beat them up, it doesn't matter to them. It's just like whatever. This is everyday life.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's that bug guy that gets killed around him, and he's upset, but he's just like, "Light Ray, why'd you do that?"
Yeah, that's not cool. And just to throw one more back to the 1996 series, is Mr. Miracle's a terrible fighter, and they show this when he goes up against Kanto with that big Barda.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Kanto's being Darkseid's leading assassin, beats the crap out of him. And similar in the 1996 series, he gets he gets beat up, but he goes to help like this lady whose husband's a professional wrestler, and she's being beat by him. And he goes in and tries to get in the way and stop it. He's like, "Hey, you shouldn't be doing this. It's bad to beat your wife and everything like that." And he just shut up. And so the wrestler like is about to hit the wife, and so Mr. Miracle just kind of hunkers over because he can't really fight him. And the wrestler just starts to beat the crap out of him, beats him up so much, but he breaks his hand because he's been so hardened by Granny Goodness's pits that he can't feel pain or whatever. And they have to
Oh,
wheel the wrestler away with broken hands, like he's done nerve damage, and like Mr. Miracle doesn't feel anything. That's how he's being a hero. He's like, "Oh, I don't feel that anymore." That's and multiple times that happens, and that'll lead us into another story when we get to Orion.
yeah. And so the page where Kanto beats his ass. So the way this comic is structured, there are a lot of pages that are 9 panels. And in one page of panels, Kanto just completely demolishes him.
Yeah,
I don't think Miracle gets a punch in.
because Big Bart is watching Jacob for the day.
Yeah, and Barda, and it's funny, he's on the boom tube or on the mother box, and he calls Barda. He says, "Barda, Kanto said something about you agreed to a fight today, and the loser's army goes home." And she's like, "Shit, I forgot about that. I'm at the doctor." And he's like, "Okay, well, I guess I'll just fight him then." But it's very like nonchalant,
Yeah,
and that's pretty much how, like you said, he is whimsical the whole
yeah,
time. But it's kind of refreshing because you're very used to superheroes being serious all the time, and he's not serious really. I mean, he is a little serious, but when about the big things, he's not very
yeah.
serious.
Well, that's the manner of his upbringing, that he was always trying to escape from a living hell that he was actually living in. And the dream of getting out was the best thing ever, which was the anti-life equation. The whole thing is that Darkseid supposedly got the anti-life equation, which is the destruction of hope in people. But Scott Free always has that hope, and he can't take it away. And so he has the life equation in him, as they say.
Yeah, and that's the what you're wondering in this book. Did Darkseid infect him with the anti-life equation, and he's not able to escape it or solve it?
Yep.
And is that what's going on? Yeah, those are our favorite Mr. Miracle parts.
Yep.
There are a lot of other really good Mr. Miracle moments, but this is going to take us, like you were saying, to our next star of the show.
Who is the wife and lovely lady of long legs and all goodness and tallness? That is Big Barda herself, raising the X-Bits by Granny Goodness, and chases after Scott Free and escapes herself from being the member of the Female Furies to eventually marry Mr. Miracle and be probably one of the premier couples in all of comicdom, I want to say.
Yeah, probably one of the longest running at this point, for sure, right?
Longest married, always together. I mean, you think maybe, Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic always being married as a superhero team. I mean, Scott and Jean really are married, but not, X-Men, Cyclops but they don't ever really feel married. You don't ever see them as a couple together away with a baby. And then you have Vision and Scarlet Witch, who are hot right now. So hot right now. As
but
Zoolander
not,
would say.
Oh. But they're not together right now in the comics.
No.
Or in the spoilers. Forget that. We won't talk about what happened in the show. That's for another show.
Don't worry, we only tease. That may be another Masterpiece Comics Theaters presents eventually.
Perhaps. So what was the top thing that one of the 5 for Bard? I don't
So like anyone that's had a tall friend that's a girl, they always say the same thing when they get self-conscious about themselves. They say, "I'm too tall." And so Big Barda kind of goes over that multiple times because Scott's like a new god. He's probably pretty decent size, but Barda's so tall, it towers over him, can like pick him up and swing him around, and that's one of the best things is that she's a superhero, but she still has her quirks of being a human or a apocalyptian or whatever you want to say.
When they check into the hospital when she's in labor, he says, "Barda, first name Big."
Yeah.
I like that.
That's her name. That was the name given to her.
Yeah.
Just like he's Scott Free, or the Vision's no Vision. She's Big, name, first name, last name Barda.
So some other Barda moments are where she makes sure they have veggie trays for all the moments. They have a veggie tray for the trial of Mr. Miracle, where Orion is putting him on trial
for treason against Orion, because Scott Free, Mr. Miracle, refuses to call Orion Highfather, and that incurs the wrath of Orion for leading to treason against the new gods.
Right. Orion just gets so mad at him all the time. There's a lot of face punching.
Yes. Lots of anger from Orion. Yeah. Definitely, despite being raised by Highfather, still has his dad's temper. His biological dad's temper.
Yeah, he does for sure. It's definitely nature for him. But so, if you watch the veggie trays, right? Orion eats a carrot from the veggie tray and he dies. Darkseid eats a carrot from the veggie tray and he dies. And the other person that eats a carrot from the veggie tray at the end is Mr. Miracle.
Yes.
I don't know.
But they have a whole other comic after he eats that carrot, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's in issue 11.
Yes. At the very end, yeah.
I think it just makes you wonder.
Yes. Does nobody else like the celery or the cauliflower or the broccoli?
I don't know. I guess not. It's always very nice, and it's very thoughtful to have a veggie tray for your guests, even if they are putting your husband on trial.
Yeah, and I like the fact that it's basically the veggie tray that we could all get at the local grocery store in the plastic, and they take it to Apocalypse.
They do. They just take it to Apocalypse through a boom tube,
like they're going to a party like anybody else in front of it.
Yeah, and the imagery is just great. So you have Darkseid sitting on his throne with Desaad next to him, and a veggie tray next to Darkseid.
And he does dip it in the ranch or whatever dressing that's to eat.
That imagery is great, but the artwork in this book is just lights out. It's all good, and it's trippy too. It's super trippy.
Well, the best part of what Mr. Gerads does is he has the fine lines that like regular comic storytelling, and since you can't tell what world it is in, he does the fade in and out and the whizziness where he wants to bring in a character that maybe in the room talking to Mr. Miracle in a coma or something that you don't know, and it's fading in and out, or he's waking in his waking moments, or he's going further into death, or you're not going into death. You can't tell. So
Yeah, there's a lot of fuzzy
yeah,
panels, and it's really, I mean, it's done really well, really, really well. And you don't often see a 9-panel page
no.
ever, and this whole book is 9-panel pages. I mean, the whole series.
And Mitch Gerads edited, I mean, inked it, drew it, colored it all himself. That's and the colors are fabulous. And I think issue number 4, they have like an insert page on a lot of these for the cover, and he does one that's like a throwback to Alphonse Mucha, who's the Bohemian artist that maybe people seen drinking absinthe, and that's why we gentlemen drink here sometimes when we're not having the fancy brews. We drink the fancy absinthe, and it's a really cool looking cover, that people would throw back to that style for Mr. Miracle, but it worked with the color scheme and all that stuff. So
Yeah, we'll put I think I have that one, like I was saying before, and if we do, I'll put an image up of it on the socials for everyone.
so the big lady of the big veggie tray also has ideas for home remodeling as a way to break it to Scott when they're gonna have a baby, because they after he gets convicted of the trial by Orion of treason, they have to go for him to get executed. And so Big Barda and Mr. Miracle go there, and there's panels of them fighting their way to Orion's throne room, with the whole comic leading off with, "I think I want to remodel the condo." and
Yeah,
every fight scene describes what she wants to do with the condo, and Mr. Miracle will be going, "Yeah, maybe that'll work, but do we have enough space? I don't know. Maybe we should buy a bigger place." And she's like, "I like the condo." But it all leads
right.
up to her being, "Why do we need all this space?" It's like, "Well, we need a nursery."
Yeah, yeah. It was a nice way to tell that story. And the reason they were going to New Genesis was they decided he wouldn't give himself up. They were just going to go kill Orion,
Yeah.
which I thought was also really cool because
Yeah.
Orion is a dick.
Yeah.
He needs to be killed. But it was a nice way to break the news that she was pregnant, and just it was another interesting juxtaposition about how serious the stuff is that they're doing. But it doesn't really phase them. They can talk about everyday stuff because they were raised in the pits
Yeah.
by Granny. So
And when she tells him, you get to see how big Barda is, because he runs up and hugs her and like jumps into her arms. He's hugging all around her.
yeah, he's tiny.
Yeah. Which also leads us to how they get there is the retainer of Orion Highfather, the opposite of Desaad to Darkseid, is Light Ray, who really, really, really hates Scott Free. And even in the 1996 series, when he's denying the powers of getting the Highfather, Orion Light Ray berates him often and tells him how he's not really a new god and how much he sucks. And they carry that over in this series. And so Light Ray is like the announcer and comes to announce that there's going to be a trial. And Big Barda just slaps him and
Yeah.
then beats the crap out of him and throws him back in the boom tube.
Oh yeah, she gives him the best gut punch.
Yes.
It's like, oh, it's drawn so well. So yeah, this is my favorite part of Big Barda in this. All the times that she kicks Light Ray's ass and tells him to shut the F up. So there's 2 times, that one being one where she like kicks his ass, and another one being
Right when they're going to kill Orion.
yeah, right when they're going to kill Orion. And then she tells him to shut the F up 3 other times. So there's one time where they're at the trial and they're all sitting on their couch, and it's not a couch made for 3 new gods, right? So he says, "This couch is inadequate," and she goes, "Shut the F up, Light Ray."
Because for there to be an official trial, there had to be Orion, who has to serve as both prosecutor, jury, and defender of Scott Free. Because if he wasn't the defender, then he wouldn't be Allfather. If he wasn't the prosecutor, then he wouldn't be Allfather, because he wouldn't be passing justice. So he has to be everything. But they had to balance it out. They had to bring an extra guy to witness it, a witness, in addition to Light Ray.
Yeah, Light Ray is just the worst. And there's another time where they're doing their negotiations to end the war with Calabac, and they ask Lightray a question. He just gets up and says, "You killed Orion. He was my best friend and my high lord and all this." And, and then Barda's just like, "Shut the F up, Lightray." And he just looks around and sits back down.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my favorite parts. It made me like laugh out loud whenever I heard those.
Yeah, it's
read those. I'm trying to find the other one where she told him.
In the meantime, I am pouring right through this beer. It's so tart and funky and fun, like Big Barda and Mr. Miracle's love. If you guys want to hit this up, yeah, it's only going to be a limited release, I assume, by Dogfish and the brewery. So definitely recommend it from what I've gotten through here. It's not too sour. So those people that are scared of sours, don't be too frightened to buy this one. It's really good.
Yeah, so I think that's my issue with this beer is I've been drinking a lot of sours and a lot of Berliner Weiss beers.
Yeah.
So I've gotten really used to the sours, and this one is more malty than any beer I've had in a long time. I like it, but I just don't think I was ready for the maltiness that this beer is bringing today. But it's tasty.
Those higher test beers usually are maltier and heavier, so
yeah, it is heavier
or more
sure.
syrupy. I should say that, whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. Whatever you say.
The higher gravity.
Whatever you say about beers, I will just agree because it makes sense to me.
That sounds so nice.
So the third time she tells Lightray to shut the F up, it's after Orion's dead. And I think the war is pretty much over, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. They decide to finally have that Barda fight with Kanto, right? And it was 9 panels and Mr. Miracle didn't get a punch in last time. This time he's all set up to go and the fight lasts for 1 pow where Barda just smashes him in the face and the fight's over.
With Kanto rolling through all what he's going to do with all his moves. Barda just smashes him.
Yeah, that's funny. Because I guess Calabac is in charge at that point because spoilers, dark side. He dead.
Get dead.
He all dead.
So yeah, we'll get to that. And finally, rolling out the what we call the New God Screw, or the side of Mr. Miracle and Big Barda, who's the final character that appears in multiple things and actually is really interesting and fun, and that is Mr. Funky Flashman himself, presenting things all the time. He becomes the announcer to Mr. Miracle and to represent him before the High Father himself, and then eventually he takes over when Mr. Miracle becomes a High Father, or becoming the announcer for Mr. Miracle anytime he enters the room, and also becomes the kind of the personal assistant / nanny to Jacob Free.
Yeah, which is super funny, funny. And so the first real part of the story with him doing that is Mr. Miracle tells him to clean poop off the changing table mat, and there's just a panel where Flashman makes a funny face, and then the next panel he goes Excelsior.
If you don't know, for those, Funky Flashman is a villain character from the original Mr. Miracle run, who is a caricature supposedly of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's upsetness of Stan Lee exploiting what he thinks is Jack Kirby's ideas for his own benefit, in not getting Jack Kirby's back at Marvel and getting him his proper dues and actually cash paid money. And that's one of the reasons he ends up at DC making the New Gods.
Yeah. So he felt that Stan didn't give him enough credit in the creation of all those characters like the Fantastic Four and the Silver Surfer and a lot of the 1960s characters.
Yes. The Silver Age at Marvel, pretty much driven by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and a few other artists. And yeah, supposedly Stan Lee, he doesn't think he got enough credit from them. So he creates this caricature to make fun of Stan Lee, that is Funky Flashman. And that's the reason he says Excelsior when he's going to clean up poop.
Yeah. And also, too, it seems like Tom King is using Funky Flashman in a way to apologize to Jack Kirby, because there's a few scenes in here where Funky is calling the baby, whose name is Jacob, he calls him Jack a couple of times. And he says, "That's Jack. He's the king."
Indeed.
At one point. Another point, which is hilarious, Funky and Jacob says they wrote a story which is about a star-eating god and his his dog that goes to find stars for him to eat. And so it's
Yes.
Galactus Silver Surfer parallel. And so Funky says, Genius Jack provides all of the imagination. It's not Funky's story, it's Jack's story.
And
So I mean, I think Stan might have been alive at this time too, because the story was like 2017 or
yes,
2018, I guess. So he might have still
yes.
been alive. But
Hmm.
but it was nice to have that like almost on page apology from Stan Lee to Jack Kirby for
Yeah.
a few things. But Funky's hilarious.
He's the best. Well, the best is when he first announces Mr. Miracle to Orion, world's best escape artist. Everybody goes, "Fucking Matchman presents."
Mhm.
Just like this is Mystery, our Masterpiece Comics Theaters presents. We need a Funky Flashman.
We do need a Funky Flashman. Oh yeah. Oh man.
So, if
Yeah.
you are in
How do we get
interest,
that?
if you are interested in applying for the job of Funky Flashman to the Comic Books, the Cold Ones podcast, please write us at cbcopodcast@gmail.com. And we will get back to you after reviewing your resume for possible employment of a no prize, no dollars to
Yes.
be our hype man.
All of that will be yours.
But you may get to search beer websites countlessly looking for us for beers to pair with our discussions of the day.
Excelsior.
Excelsior. Baby poop may or may not be involved.
Yes. Probably not. Not from me.
And so that closes out kind of our New Gods crew. Their appearances by the bugs and mentionings of other New Gods. The best parts about the other New Gods is you will see random references to them. So like from the Forever People, you see Big Bear's head on a pike after they've killed him,
Oh, that's right.
and you see New Gods holding up the table and imprisoned at various points from Apocalypse.
Yeah,
And
Calabac smashes one against the wall.
yeah, in anger over provision of agreeing to the swapping of on certain
Prisoners.
protocol issues of rights, of prisoner rights, and not rights. So that brings us to the Apocalypse crew, and who do we roll off first from Apocalypse? And of course, that's got to be the person that has raised both Scott Free and Big Barda, the mother figure herself, Granny Goodness.
Yeah, Granny Goodness is now leading armies of Apocalypse onto New Genesis, right? And Orion sends Miracle and Barda to meet with her to maybe come to some kind of peace agreement. But it seems like Orion was trying to play both sides. He didn't like Mr. Miracle and Barda either. So he told Granny that, they were there to kill her. And they kind of were, but he kind of ratted them out. But Granny, turns out she really, really did care for Miracle, according to what she said, right?
Yeah. So in the '96 series, they reference that Scott Free's mother ends up getting killed by Steppenwolf. They say who's the uncle to the dark side, but there's this weird illusion that maybe Granny Goodness is Scott Free's real mother. But
Oh, really?
they never like explicitly say that. But she knows who the real mother is because Scott Free never knows who his real mother is, and that's one of the reasons he eventually kills Steppenwolf in the series because he finds out that he killed his mother, and that's when. But they don't ever really reference who the mother is. So there's kind of this hanging kind of thing where Isaiah's like, maybe it's Granny Goodness.
Oh, interesting.
But she never treated him any better than the other kids, and they tell stories throughout this of how Big Barda and, and Mr. Miracle were raised. Anytime they start to feel kind of bad on themselves, they remember how good that was, and they tell the story at Christmas time of the Christmas story that Granny Goodness tells them about a Jewish child in the Holocaust who's
Yeah.
hiding and everything and escapes all these horrible atrocities and his family dying and everything, and eventually he dies himself in the camps, and that's the way the story ends. And she goes, "Merry Christmas, every kids."
Yeah. Ugh. Granny was brutal, huh?
Yes. She's not the most tender of women.
Oh, it was where the kid accidentally revealed in school that
Yes.
Jewish people could come stay in their basement.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
And what ends with this thing, you the whole time you're really telling the story, you think there's going to be this moment of hope and good feeling that somebody survived all this horror, and they're like, nope, he died in the camps like everybody else. And then she ends it with Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. The funny thing was that she told Scott Free these stories, but she never told Barda any of these stories, or
Yes.
did like the things that he thought were nice, which weren't really nice. She never even did for anyone else. Like,
Yeah.
so that stuff was still terrible, but not as terrible as everything else she'd been doing to everyone else. But then also they seem to reveal in the story that she was a double agent for Highfather, right?
Yes. And that
Is that discussed in any of the other series?
well, that just harkens back to, I think, that maybe she really is maybe Mr. Miracle's mother, or somehow related somehow in this whole gimmick.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I remember I used to have an old original DC Who's Who, and I had G, so I had the one with Granny Goodness. And I was like, and I think I was like, what, 8 or something? I was like, this is just weird. It
Yes.
just looked really weird.
Well, they left her out of, if I remember right, the DC Super Friends when Darkseid appears with on TV with Callback and Sod.
Yeah.
They
Was
leave
it
out
in
that
that?
whole trippy thing of Mr. Miracle, Big Barn, and all this. So if you read the, like I said, it's obviously Jack Kirby was heavily influenced by the counterculture and hippie movement at the time, and the anti-establishment, with Granny Goodness definitely being the establishment of running an orphanage where she beats children daily.
Yeah. Clearly is where that came from for
Yeah.
sure.
So it's a funky story, like Funky Flash Man. And then the next part of the Apocalypse crew is, so Big Barda was leader of a group of assassins raised in the X Pits to serve Darkseid as his frontline warriors, the female Furies themselves, which are Bernadette, Mad Harriet, Stampa, and Lashina. And what do when they find out that Big Barda's having a child?
Oh, they show up and they're just in the hospital waiting room, just sitting there, which is it's really hilarious that you have
So they're in
these
full
new
costumes.
gods, yeah, full costumes, these new gods, these new gods from Apocalypse in full costume, and they like to do is kill and murder. They're just sitting there in the waiting room because Bard is having a baby, and Bernadette gives Miracle something called a Farron knife, which was crafted from like the skin of Darkseid, and she says, "I give this to you now, because it's the only thing that can pierce Barda's skin. But one day I will murder you with it, High Father."
Yes. So she knows they may have to cut an umbilical cord, and gives her this knife that can actually cut the umbilical cord of Big Barda. And they're excited because no one on Apocalypse has ever had a baby. That's not how you have babies. You don't get to have babies. They're just conquered from other planets or given to Apocalypse. So this
Or
is a
they're
big
made,
deal.
right?
What?
They made, right?
Yeah, they're made, yeah, in the factory. So they're just, this is the first time one's ever been born. So it's like a big deal, even for these women that are trained to be assassins and do nothing but kill. And they can't even, yeah, Bernadette can't even give up that little bit of, all right, I'm here because I'm really excited for the baby, but I will stab you to death when I get a chance. Which is
Yeah, that
awesome.
was a way to show that, they're there for Barda still because she's always going to be one of them, but still going to kill Miracle. Still
Yes.
going to kill. Did you move on to the Guinness?
I moved on to the Guinness. That was an awesome beer. I would highly recommend it if you can get your hands on it. Betwixt I am for uh, Big Barda and Mr. Miracle after drinking that one. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I got to pick up some Guinness for Wednesday.
Yes.
I almost did today, but I think I'll have my dad do it.
Will he give you a firing knife too to cut your wife's umbilical cord next time you have a child?
Maybe. I'll put that on the list
So that,
after Stroller.
yeah, that's an awesome scene. Next, we move on to another one of the better characters in the Apocalypse crew, and that's Kanto, or Luthien. That's his real name, but he goes by Kanto. So he is the master assassin of Darkseid, who at one time got sent back in time and lived in Renaissance Italy. And so he dresses like that and uses all the speeches, the speech pattern of a guy in the Renaissance, and the flare and flash. And we mentioned him a couple times in the fights he's had, but he during the negotiations to end the war, he shows Scott free where the bathroom is in Darkseid's castle, and also goes to pee with him. And the pier is just a giant pit hole that goes on
Yeah.
forever and ever.
And they end up peeing on some dude down there. I don't know who
it's,
that was. I guess he was
it's
a new
one
god.
it's one of the new god prisoners, yeah. but but as you would expect, what's the most evil thing you can do to another man? And that is, of course, talk to him while you're peeing together. That's what
Yes.
Kanto does. The most deadly of the things he can do is be a piss
The whole
talker.
time. Just the whole time
a
talk to him.
side saddler, and tells a lie story about how he used to make out with Leonardo da Vinci, and then eventually comes back and says, "No, that was a lie. I just kind of want to talk to you."
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of story do you say when you're talking to a god, right? Or the god?
Yeah. What are you going to say when you're pissing next to a god? But isn't that the worst when the guys, especially if it's somebody you don't know, at
Yeah.
the
Or
toilet?
someone you don't like.
Yeah, something that you hate. It's like, no, we don't
Yeah.
do it for business.
Because Kanto just got done beating him up like an
Yes.
issue before that too.
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah. So the next is Calibac, who is heading the negotiations on behalf of Darkseid and Apocalypse, and which is kind of strange because he's kind of an idiot, I would
yeah.
think. Anyway, there's one scene where they're going over the paperwork, and he pulls something out of his pocket. And it looks like it's going to be a weapon of some sorts, like a knife or something. But then he unfolds it and he puts on a pair of reading glasses. And Mr. Miracle's like, "Huh?" Makes a weird face. It's a classic scene, I think.
and he rambles on all about basically what the Geneva Accords are of Apocalypse and New Genesis on prisoner exchanges and the minutia of this, and they shouldn't have been agreeing to any of that.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like they've obviously done this before, right? And so they're having to hash out over all of the ways they've come to agreements in the past and see if those still work in their situation. But it's weird seeing Calibac like a lawyer at the table.
Yeah, and he's like a giant humanoid creature compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
And he finds a way to try to get under, Mr. Miracle's skin, and they do the same to back and forth, insinuating that Calabac isn't as good a son as Scott Free to Darkseid.
Right. Yeah, that Scott Free's his favorite song.
Yeah, even though he escaped and ran away from Apocalypse.
Yeah, and they can't get under Scott Free's skin because, like he tells him, he's granny raised. He knows
Yeah,
all the stuff, and it doesn't bother him.
yeah, these tricks I'm
Yeah.
used to.
Yep.
And then finally, we roll it out with, of course, the assault troops of Apocalypse. You'll see the parademons throughout this in the fights, and they'll just be eating on new gods and just getting crushed. And you see a baby parademon, and there's a big debate on whether parademons are born or mutated or give birth, and then they squash the baby parademon. Light Ray, I believe, shoots it, right?
Yeah, Orion tells him to, doesn't he, or something? Yeah.
So yeah, they can't quite figure out the parademons, but they're different than what you've seen them in like the movies. So in the Justice League movie, you see parademons,
Mhm.
these flying things that attack everything without emotion and everything. They kind of give the parademons kind of some character and uh, reason to be other than just be giant bugs flying around, which is interesting. Which I think
Yeah.
is better. It's much better than the Zack Snyder Justice
Yes, I agree.
League.
This Mr. Miracle book is much better. It's like I heard that Tom King was writing a New Gods movie,
Oh, cool.
but I don't, with the way Warner Brothers is, how it's just a complete mess. Who knows what they're doing? But, if it's like this, that would be great. Like tongue in cheek and very self aware.
Yes, it'd be awesome. That brings us to our final of the characters, the biggest of the characters, the largest looming, the DC Thanos, everybody's villain and scariness, which is Darkseid. And what is Darkseid?
Darkseid is.
Darkseid is, which
Now, we're going back to the t shirts we were talking about before. There
yes,
is a t shirt, Darkseid is.
there is.
Black t shirt, white lettering. Yeah.
I gotta buy that.
Yeah, I got to buy that too. Or, if anyone wants to send it to us, just shoot us an email or whatever.
But throughout this 12 comic series, there's just panels that'll appear with just the fonts of in lettering Darkseid is, which gives you the insight that maybe this is that's when he's trying to die. Mr. Miracle's trying to die, and Darkseid representing death and the loss of hope or whatever of life. And that's Darkseid's phrase, of course, on Apocalypse, is he's supposed to replace everything else in your life. That there's nothing else. It's just Darkseid is.
Yeah, and it might mean that Miracle's infected with the anti-life equation.
Yes, that he's giving up hope, and this is it. That it's taking away from him. That he's got to give it all up.
Yeah, the dark side is everything.
Yes.
Yes. They do that well. They
Yeah.
scatter it throughout the book. I say book because I have the Barnes and Noble exclusive edition with the fancy
Well, you are
fuzzy
Mister.
cover.
You are a lord.
I am. I'm High Lord, New God.
After that match, Lefindamone, you do feel like a High Lord, I'm sure.
After what?
After one Lefindamone tall bottle, you feel like a High Lord, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh.
The next part is the way Mitch Gerads draws Darkseid is, I think, awesome. He kind of looks like the big puffy guy from Big Hero 6.
Oh yeah.
Nice and soft and fluffy.
He does, doesn't he?
He doesn't look as imposing and scary as Darkseid and other ones. He looks, especially on the cover, he looks like kind of a Stay Puft Marshmallow, like Darkseid.
Yeah, he does. He just looks round. Which, I mean, it doesn't really think about it. It doesn't matter like how muscular someone like Darkseid is.
No.
He's the new god of Apocalypse. He's the the representative anti-life. He has those zigzag lasers.
Yeah. And he always, on other people's drawings, he always looks like a moving rock. He's just like a giant statue that moves, kind of thing.
Yeah, he looks more mushy on this for
and
sure.
this one he's softer, and he got nicer lines. Like
he does.
Like he could be like a child's toy that you could hold.
And that's why Baby Jake was pulling on his nose.
Yeah, and that's why we're saying DC maybe should make a Darkseid toy plushie for babies to hold.
Ooh, there you go. Because Darkseid doesn't kill babies like Batman.
Darkseid only wants to adopt babies, and that's what he wants to do. That brings us to the next thing is he'll end the war and give up all the negotiations as long as Scott Free and Big Barda give Jacob Free over to be raised in Apocalypse style, as Darkseid believes he should be, since he is a baby of Apocalypse.
All right, he wants all the babies.
Yes, so he's
just that
big.
Baby.
He's a big grandfather. So he's a big soft grandfather.
Right. I mean, you can't blame him for that. That's very, I think, noble of him to want to take that baby.
And it upsets Skull back to no end, because he knows if he gets Jacob Free would be the first in line for the throne over Callback to rule over Darkseid's empire.
Callback
gets very, very upset. And that's the most interesting thing about Darkseid. He's got this soft spot. He's a big plushy toy that's got a soft spot now.
Yep, he just wants that baby to drop that baby in the X pit.
Yes. Even though there's no granny goodness anymore, he'll raise him the way he's supposed to be raised.
Right.
And then finally, probably the best moment of the whole series is KMacworth. What would that be?
Oh boy. Are we on the same page here?
Yes.
I think we are. Is it this one? Or this one?
It's that one.
This one?
Yeah. No, yeah. The consumption.
Oh yeah. So we talked about this a little bit before, but Darkseid likes his veggie tray. He does. He likes dipping those celeries and those carrots into that ranch. And who wouldn't, really, right? It kind of brings, Darkseid, not that bad a guy, no. Right? I mean, that's what this really means, right? He wants his grandson. He likes his veggies. So he's going to raise him right.
He's gonna make a host place for people to visit. So yeah, when I just said, when they come to hand Jacob Free over, supposedly hand him over, they bring a veggie tray and they set it down for Darkseid, and Darkseid munches on a carrot after putting it into the ranch, and then holds baby Jacob, who pokes him in the nose.
I don't know why they were so worried about giving the baby over to him. He's gonna make him eat his vegetables.
He's gonna get his vegetables. He's gonna make sure it's warm.
Right.
Maybe a little too warm, but warm still.
Maybe, but they won't be raw.
No. He'll get to play with parademons.
Yes. He'll have a great older brother, Callback, or great uncle, Callback.
and a fine tutor in Desaad.
Mm-hmm.
All the good stuff.
Yeah. It would be good. And like they said throughout, Mr. Miracle and Barda, they grew up just fine.
Yeah. You turned out okay.
Yeah, Apocalypse not that bad a place to grow up.
It's a sweetheart. It's it's Pleasantville. We would love it. And then we round out the story with Darkseid eventually getting destroyed by Mr. Miracle using a knife carved out of the bones of Orion, because that's what prophecy says, that Orion will kill Darkseid, and so that's how it has to end. And what does the baby say as Darkseid's dying?
As Darkseid's dying, and then Desaad turns into Metron, baby Jacob goes, "Fug," because when Miracle killed Darkseid, he dropped the F-bomb a bunch of times, and then when Metron showed up, well, and then in between, before Metron showed up, Barda was scolding Miracle for using that language in front of the baby, and then Metron shows up and Barda says it, and then baby Jacob goes, "Fug," as his first word.
Which is a great first word, even though there are other times when Mr. Miracle presumes that he's saying "da" over "mama," but he doesn't really say anything. And Funky Flashman's like, "Yeah."
So they do need to make. Well, we'll talk about this at the end. Like, what else do we want from this story that we didn't get?
Well, I mean, the whole point of the story was it was supposed to be nihilistic in some ways, I think, overall, and leave you on the cliffhanger of you don't know what's going on. But it's more about acceptance of grief or whatever. We're getting deep down into the Masterpiece Comics theater telling, but it is like the
Yes.
adoption of dealing with grief and childhood loss, that you can have a normal life, and that you can be a normal human being and conquer your dark side demons with a baby stroller gun and a knife carved out of a high god's bones.
Well, you got much deeper than I got. What I want is I want a Funky Flashman T-shirt. That's what I want.
And that is the real upside to this DC is you're slacking on your merch.
Oh, for sure. Like, look what Mitch drew in this as far as merch goes. I mean, where is it, right? Why isn't it everywhere?
Here's my card. Give me your stuff. Charge me
I
what you
know.
want. Take my
Oh.
money already, assholes.
Oh, DC.
Hashtag DC. Hashtag can't market. Hashtag Warner Brothers get paid.
Yeah, I know. I know. So Tom King after this went on to write Batman. He went on to write, or right now he's in the middle of writing Rorschach for DC, and he's also writing an Adam Strange book.
I saw the Adam Strange coming out, which will be interesting because
It's a murder
those other two
mystery.
characters are too popular that but they have too much mythos. Whereas Mr. Miracle, he is more of a clean slate with things he can do, and same with Adam Strange, because Mr. Miracle is just such a random, awesome, funky character that you don't expect much, and that he can take liberties with him that you wouldn't be allowed to always do with other things.
Yeah, and I think that's what Tom King writes the best. He also wrote the Vision series in Marvel, one where Vision gets a wife and kids that are also what is Vision
Synthezoids.
again?
Synthezoid,
Synthezoids,
huh?
yeah.
Not an android. The closest thing that can be an android without being an android. A
Right.
synthezoid.
Of course. So is there a character that you would like to see, one of those characters who is like a fringe character that you'd like to see Tom King write?
Well, I want to see more Light Ray. Because
That would be good.
he's just such a dick. I mean, I can see him do a 4-part of Light Ray, just of how he became a dick, because they don't really develop. Like I said, the '96 series, he's also a dick in there, just to Mr. Miracle the whole time about not wanting
Yeah.
to accept him to be High Father, and Mr. Miracle's like, I just want to be an escape artist. This is like boring stuff. Escape from apocalypse. This isn't a life for me. You guys with your weird gods and everything. So. And then also, like, yeah, kind of more of the lay people stories of Apocalypse and the New Gods. So there's like a one shot from that feeds off that Mr. Miracle series in the '90s, and also the New God series that feeds into, where it kind of tells the like little short stories about, here's the layout of New Genesis and Apocalypse, and they have maps
Mm-hmm.
and things like that, and they have this one story about the X pits, and there's two kids, and there's this one that this one that's like the Mr. Miracle coming up and like doing really really well, and he's kind of helping and substituting in for one that's failing or whatever. But the one that's like failing really believes in all this and wants to be in the soldier corps and everything. And so he's like, okay, we got to get out because they're going to kill you if you don't. And that one sells out the one that's really good. And there's a guy on Apocalypse called Hyman, who's like
Mm-hmm.
the character that like shepherds people away. He's like a good guy. He's like a new guy that's hiding out there. And Apocalypse doesn't kill him, and like the kid gets to Hyman, and then Darkseid appears and like disintegrates the kid because like once the one turncoat just like he's like, okay, I'm selling you out, and they get him, and like immediately they disintegrate the kid. He's like, yeah, you have no loyalty or whatever. You don't have to be even loyal to Darkseid's the uppity one, but the one that's like the good kid or whatever. He pretends to disintegrate him, and Hyman's like, why'd you do that, or did you even do that? He goes, I don't know, but the reason you exist is you show that there's hope, and eventually someday I'll figure out how I can take that away from them. So that's like his whole experiment, is that Hyman exists and that kid exists to give the other people hope so he can crush it, and maybe that'll be how he discovers the anti-life equation.
Mm.
is by providing these people with hope and
And then taking it away.
then taking it away and seeing that as an experiment used to take away hope. So that's what I always want to see. It's like those other like the more ladder rung people on Apocalypse, like, what are you doing all day? Because
Yeah.
it sounds like being in a cult where you get beat every day.
Yeah, it does sound like that, doesn't it? Or tortured in some other way.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him write a Booster Gold series. I think
Well,
that
everybody
would be a
wants
lot
to
of
see.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he would write it well. Not everyone, just me.
Not just you. Yes, just you.
I'd also see him maybe like to write a Hawkeye series if he ever like if ever his exclusive DC contract is up and he
Yeah.
can go back to Marvel. I'd like to see him write a Hawkeye series. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm always amazed how Hawkeye has grown as a character. So
He
much so
has.
that like they have the Old Man Hawkeye series now, which would never have thought. And like they're always trying to force Hawkeye on people in the 80s and 90s, and now he's taken off in the 2010s onwards.
Yeah, it is weird because in the '80s they were really trying an Avengers spotlight
Yeah,
to get him his own book, and it just never really worked out.
yeah. The chirpy, sidekicky kind of Avenger. It's like I'm not as even a powerful as Captain America, and Captain America is not even a superhero.
Yeah, I just like it when certain fringe characters that you don't usually get to see on their own get someone tied to them that can write them well. So hopefully we'll see someone else. Maybe like Moon Knight. Moon Knight would be fun, but he's already
Yeah,
written Batman, so I guess that's kind of
yeah. And there's already some pretty good Moon Knight. There's already some pretty good Moon Knights. The reason I want to see the Adam Strange one, I think it'll be good because
yeah.
not enough people know the character. It's an interesting character, very Buck Rogers that he can do. So
Yeah, I've read the first issue. I liked it. Maybe there's a future Masterpiece Comics theater on that.
maybe.
Who knows? Who knows?
But in order to do that, we have to actually get good beers to do. So, what is your rating of La Fin de Mon Unibral from Quebec, Canada?
Oh boy, I didn't think about my rating yet. Holy crap! Well, okay, all right. I will give it 3 out of 5. Shut the f up, light rays.
Nicely done.
Yes, because it's good. It's really good. Like I said, I don't know if I was really in the mood for this kind of beer today. Now that I'm having it, it's maltier than I probably wanted to have right now. But I do understand why it gets such good ratings on Beer Advocate. It's a really good beer, but not really what I'm drinking these days. But so 3 out of 5. I'll give it
3 out
three
of
out of 5.
5.
Yeah.
Shut the F up, Light Race. And for the Kisses Betwixt Mr. and Mrs. This is Ridiculous one shot from the brewery in Dr. Shed, I'm going to give it bone wine. It tastes like the crushed up bones soaked and made into a wine for Darkseid to drink.
It's the color of bone wine too.
It's the color of bone wine also. So
That's
that's what I'm going
great.
to give it. It is really good. It is worth the money you pay for it. And it is definitely, you can tell they put their heart and soul into this. As two super fancy breweries that do fancy things, that's what I would expect from them. I don't know.
Now, if I went out drinking with Mr. Miracle, Booster Gold, Skeets, and Blue Beetle, I would drink this beer.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
Yeah.
La Fin de Mon would be That's what at least Skeets is drinking.
Oh, for sure.
Or Ted Cord.
Ted Cord for sure, yeah.
Indeed.
Yes. That was a good read.
That was fun. I enjoyed this as always. So yeah, if you guys want to talk to us, write us at cbcopodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter at cbcopodcast or Instagram us at Comic Books and Cold Ones on the IG. We're always looking for comics to read, show ideas, and of course beers to drink or beers you want to drink. Also, if you want to be our Funky Flash band, we're taking resumes always to hype us. So
correct.
So, as Sir Yexington, a man of comic sans letters, I bid you adieu from the Advanced Institute of Funny Book Studies. I will turn it over to you now, Lord KMacworth III of Inkshire, to do the final closeout.
Yes, and this is Lord KMacworth of Inkshire, thanking you for joining us on another edition of Masterpiece Comics Theater, brought to you by Comic Books and Cold Ones. Good night, everybody.